How does she tell her fiance she doesn't like the wedding bands he picked for them without hurting his feelings? I know what you're thinking. She sounds like a total bridezilla. But when you hear this email, she is not, I can assure you. And if you ever have a dilemma, need some advice, please always head to thebertshow.com, shoot us an email, producer at The Bert Show, and we'll read it, give you our advice, and Bert Show fam can also weigh in. Cass has got this one.
Hey, Bert Show. I've been listening to the podcast since 2021, and I absolutely love you guys. The crazy stories from listeners, the advice, the laughs. You guys make my 45-minute commute to work so much smoother every day. The thing is, I never thought I would end up writing to you guys. Heads up, English is not my first language, so sorry if something isn't totally clear. I'm getting married to the love of my life, my boyfriend of 4 years now, this December. Everything with planning has been going amazing. Before we were even officially engaged, we started preparations, for we knew from the start that this relationship was it for us. We have a running joke between us that the proposal was just a formality at this point. The thing is, when he got my engagement ring, he also bought our wedding bands with it, since there was some special offer that the seller made for him or something. The whole thing was a surprise, so I was in the dark about it all. My engagement ring is beautiful. It's very minimalistic, which is a style I like very much. However, he showed me the same day the wedding band that goes with it, and that's where my problem is. The wedding band took minimalistic to a whole other level. I think it's very pretty, but it doesn't say wedding band in my eyes. My fiancé is not good with anything related to fashion, and I'm the one advising him on it always. So for this surprise, he sought the help of my sister and some friends, and it honestly shocked me a bit that they would okay this option. It's not a thing of me wanting an expensive ring, and actually, before he proposed, I had suggested to him that we just go to Walmart's jewelry section to get cheaper options and save the money for the wedding or the house we're buying. It's literally all about the style. The band is so small, it barely doubles the size of a thread. If it were a normal ring, technically I'd love it, but it being my wedding band is where I can't seem to love it. If I wore it by itself, no one would know it's a wedding band. And alongside my engagement ring, you can't even tell it's there. I don't know what would be the best course of action here. I'm so thankful for his effort, but I always imagine that we would have searched for the band sometime in the future together. It scares me bringing up the topic and hurting his feelings, which makes me feel stuck, because it's been 6 months since the proposal and I've never said anything about it before. What would you guys advise me? Has someone had something similar happen to them? Thanks in advance. P.S. I really hope I translated the message well without coming off as bratty or conceited. I really don't want to be labeled as a bridezilla. Ha ha ha.
I don't think she's a bridezilla.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah. I mean, she was so sweet, and she listens to us every day. You're not a bridezilla. I'm trying to think of the best way. So, Mo, if you were him and you did this, and she loves the engagement ring, but the wedding band isn't, she wants something a little thicker to really resonate that this is a wedding band. How would you prefer your fiance come to you? Now, mind you, it is 6 months after the engagement. Come to you to be like, hey, can we go? And I've been staring at my wedding band because mine's really thin.
I was just looking at yours too.
How can she approach you and not hurt your feelings? Or is there no way around it?
Well, for me personally, to be honest, I wouldn't be offended at all. But I can understand why someone would be. So I guess if I were a guy who might get offended at something like this, I think the best approach might be, if she could be patient, to not necessarily do it right away, but maybe wear it for a few months, 6 months, however long you can, maybe a year. And then at that point, just come up to him and say that you're interested in upgrading it.
Well,
maybe that wouldn't hurt his feelings as much.
Okay, I appreciate what you're saying. However,
I think I'm on the same page as you.
With the wedding band, the minute you say those vows with that band,
right,
like, you don't want to get rid of this.
Oh.
This represents, like, the vows, the commitment. Like, it's one thing to upgrade the engagement ring.
Right.
It's another thing to upgrade the wedding band, because this literally is a representation of the entire ceremony.
Oh, well, in that case, you got to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a way around that.
Are we overthinking this? Because he got it on special offer.
Yes.
Are we sure this isn't just like a dude move in a way, or even a girl move? It's like, sweet, I can save some money on the bands, no big deal. Like, throw them in there. I don't think, and I could be wrong,
he's emotionally connected to that ring.
Yeah, and a lot of people, like, if you shop for the bands together, that's awesome. And if you really pick out the band, like my band goes with my engagement ring. So Chad chose them out at the same time. But if it was just like hey, it's a special offer, we can get them cheaper, I don't think he's going to be that offended.
And I think too, because typically, and to each their own, we shop for our wedding bands together. Like he got the engagement ring and we went back to we went back to Worthmore Jewelers and we shopped for our wedding bands together and picked them out together. And he chose his and I chose mine. So I feel like if you were honest and kind, and you sound very kind in your email, you really do, that, hey, something, I would position it like this. I know I haven't said anything for a really long time, and I was just going back and forth as to whether or not this was important to me, and I've decided this is important to me. I really wanted us to go choose our wedding bands together. So if we can go and choose our wedding bands together so we can have that moment, that would be really, really special for me.
Also, thin bands for the win. Just so you know, they're so comfortable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mine's so, like, mine's like a whisper of a band.
I'm trying to think of, as a man, like what my pushback would be in that situation if you approach me like that. And unless he's truly emotionally attached to this particular band, I don't see him having an issue with that at all.
See, and I always know Bert Show fam has been in a similar situation. Hey, Ron, welcome to the show. What advice do you have for our Bert Show listener?
Well, my advice, because I did a similar thing where I bought a really pretty engagement ring, and then it came with a band. And it was one of those bands that kind of went around the ring, around the center stone. So I knew it wasn't the cutest wedding band, and she knew it wasn't the cutest wedding band. So what we decided, she just wears her engagement ring as her wedding ring. So she doesn't even wear the band. She just keeps her engagement ring.
Gotcha. So, I mean,
So that's what I would suggest.
So,
just get rid of it altogether, the band.
Some people do that.
Okay.
Some people don't bother with the band, but that's another to each their own. Hey, Jill, welcome to the Bert Show. Any advice?
Hey there. I say keep the band. The band is not important. The marriage is what's important. And then in 5 years, get an anniversary ring to go along with it. But just be thankful that she's getting married and she has something to represent the fact that she is married to the love of her life.
Thank you, Jill. No, we appreciate that perspective, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that feel that way.
But at the same time, you look down at your finger every day and you don't like what you see. That is frustrating, especially if you feel like you're not allowed to have a say in what you're wearing. It's really, really tough, especially if she's the one who is guiding the style. And so she clearly has a particular style and it's minimalist and that's great. And you look down every day and you're like, best day ever. Love my husband. Hate this band. I know it's like so inconsequential and superficial, but it's one of those nagging little things that would drive me nuts.
I say, if you can't be honest now, how are you going to be honest later?
Boom. This is a good test for the marriage.
Right? Yep. And so and I would position it as you really wanted to pick out wedding bands together. So go back to the same place and choose a wedding band that you both like. And if he is as sweet and cool and down to earth as you say he is, then this will be a non-issue. But when you do that, you have to let us know how it goes.
The Bert Show.
Like what you just watched, you can get more of The Bert Show on your favorite podcast platform. Wherever you listen to your podcast, you can find us. I don't know what any of these buttons do, by the way.